Slacker, Chapter 22, Mr. Fanshawe. When I was 9, my mother wanted to put me in swimming lessons. I refused. It was a skill I would never need. I was going to be a teacher and stay forever on dry land. I argued. If I had known then that I would one day owe my life to Daphne Leibowitz, that would have been a very different conversation. I still had no idea what made me jump in the water, taking 300 munchkins with me. On what level did I not know I was going straight to the bottom? But I just left a beautiful example of young people involved in public service work and returned to the spectacle of an aquatic brawl being fought in mountains of multicolored bubbles. Or maybe it was this. My students were younger and smaller, except maybe Xavier, and they were being threatened. Was I proud of them for finding the courage to stand up for themselves and the good work that they were trying to accomplish? You bet. Was I sorry that the Y got trashed and was going to be unusable for at least 6 months? Well, okay, that too. The worst part of all was that the Positive Action Group was getting blamed for everything while those bullies and jerks from the high school were being let off scot-free. Audra Klinkner wrote in her column that the whole incident had been the high schoolers trying to prevent the PAG from vandalizing the Y. And now the Friends of Fuzzy were earning the gratitude of the community by volunteering to clean up the mess in the pool area that they had made. My colleague Barbara Lederer wasn't as sympathetic as I'd expected. "It's your own fault," she told me. "You were the one who called Audra Klinkner in the first place. You were more than happy with all the publicity you got when she was writing good things about the PAG." "Yeah, but the good things were all true," I reasoned. "This is wrong. Those fuzzies aren't heroes. They came to spoil our job. They've been doing it for weeks." Audra Klinkner is a reporter, she explained patiently. "She follows the story. The story used to be how great you are. But nobody wants to read the same thing over and over again, so the story had to change." I was speechless. "Plus," she added, "Audra Klinkner is an idiot. You're not from around here, but the locals all know that." Dr. LaPierre was beyond furious. "Do you have any idea how this reflects on the school?" "Of course I do, but our kids are innocent." "Well, the high school says their kids are innocent." I was resentful. The high school's lying. Ask yourself what those teenagers were doing at a closed pool, knowing full well that someone else would be there working. They've been stalking us for a while now. If you'd just take the time to investigate— "I don't want to be investigated," he interrupted. "I want it over. Shut it down." I stared at him. "The Positive Action Group. It's done." I was horrified. Don't they deserve a chance to clear their name? I just came from a demonstration of what waterlogged donuts can do to a $70,000 pool filtration system. Shut it down. I begged for mercy, but it's been so good for our kids. The shy ones have made friends. The young ones aren't intimidated by the upperclassmen anymore. Working side by side has done that for them. Take a boy like Xavier. He hasn't been in trouble since joining the PAG. The principal's lip curled. "Well, not unless you consider ripping apart a giant water slide and using it to assault 20 people. Trouble. Or a Freeland," I continued gamely. "He never had a thought beyond the football field. Now he has a real life and his grades are improving. And what about Cameron Boxer himself? He barely left a footprint in this school. Did you ever think that we would see such leadership from him?" He held up a hand policeman style. "Save your breath. I am not saying it wasn't good for a while, but it isn't good anymore. End it." And that was it. I had a lot of good arguments left, but he didn't want to hear them. Dr. LaPierre is my boss. He'd given me a direct order. All that remained was for me to tell 729 Paggers that they wouldn't be Paggers anymore. Well, obviously, I couldn't personally break the news to 729 people, and I certainly didn't want to deliver a shock like that over the PA, so I paged Cameron. It was a testament to how much the PAG had become part of my life that I wasn't even surprised when he didn't show up. A check of my watch gave me a pretty good idea of where he had to be. I left my office, stepping over the boxes of unsold raffle tickets, and made my way to the second floor boys' room. Sure enough, there was the PAG president, slouched against the sink, phone in hand, playing that game he loved so much, something about clans. "Cameron," I said gently. I startled him, and he nearly dropped his phone in the process of fumbling it out of sight. "Oh, hi, Mr. Fan, sir. I was just... It's all right. I'm not going to report you." Might have been his legendary politeness that made me overlook his cell phone violation, or maybe it was my heavy heart at what I had to tell him. "Cameron, I've got bad news, and I wanted you to be the first to know so that you can pass it on to the other members. The Positive Action Group, it's been canceled, and it's not going to be allowed to operate anymore." I watched his face as he digested my words. A grimace appeared that sent the corners of his mouth shooting up toward his ears. If I didn't know better, I'd have sworn it was a huge Grinch-like grin. He was working very hard to keep his emotions in check. "It was wonderful while it lasted," I went on. "I can't tell you how much I admire what you did for this school, but it's over. I'm sorry." His tight control never wavered. Okay, I echoed. It seemed like more should be said, but Cameron had always been a man of a few words. Fine, we'd do it his way. We shook hands, and I left him there without ordering him back to class. The kid deserved a little time and space to collect his thoughts. The last thing I heard as the bathroom door closed behind me was the flourish of trumpets from his video game.